How you going, people? Cops out there earning the hate. I mean, it's just, I'm telling you, if we would have seen this, or if this happened, or if a cop got caught doing this back in the 80s and 90s, they would have been crucified. And I know people are going to say that happened, there just wasn't cameras. I'm telling you, it didn't happen around me. There weren't cops that needed to prove how tough they were when a guy was tied to a chair. So, I mean, most cops, most decent people who aren't pussies don't respect guys that do this to other guys, even if this guy's an asshole. Most real men don't respect guys that beat people up that can't fight back. That's just a pussy coward move. So I know people think that cops have always been doing this and everything, but most cops used to be, when they hired men, were stand-up guys that didn't want to abuse people like this, and there were other cops, other men around that would say, dude, don't be a coward. That ain't cool. You don't need to do that. So this wouldn't have happened, I say, back in my day. But you know what? With all the quota and sensitivity hiring, and, you know, of course they're going to say, and in the video here, they're going to talk about they need more training. We're paying. This is not a training issue, people. This is a hiring and retention issue of the officers that do this. This is not a training issue. You cannot train evil, meanness, cowardness, mental problems, don't know what bathroom to use. You can't train that out of people. So you can send them to training all you want. This is not a training issue. This is an enforcement issue. This is a complacent issue to where cops and government protect government, and it's become so easy to do this that people now think it's okay and they're going to be protected. And that's why we keep seeing more and more of it. So let's take a look at this. Here we go.
After punch, the more we counted, the more disturbing it got.
It's really tough to watch. A restrained prisoner in Pike County, an unrestrained deputy hitting.
Okay, people. Where's all my cop lovers here that always wants to come here and cry? Rick doesn't like police. He wears a tin hat. He's crazy. He just always picking on poor police. They're heroes. This is an isolated incident. We never see this. All police are good. There's just a few bad. People, you do not see this much prevalent abuse of power that we see in today's society from cops and have it not be systemic or continuous or growing or massive. You just don't have it. I mean, the government line's always going to be, we didn't know. As soon as we found out, we corrected it. This is an isolated incident. We value our loyalty and judgment, and we hire good officers. Those are all just flat out lies. They hire people to be PC and quotas and what bathroom and all these other issues. They don't care about what kind of quality of people they get. They want to have quotas on what type of positions they fill and how they can say how progressive and PC and how wonderful they are because they hired this many of that and this many of this. That's the problem. It's not a training issue. It is a hiring and retention issue.
Hitting him in the face over and over, and a supervisor did nothing to stop it.
The deputy is...
Oh, shocking. The supervisor did not... Who thinks when we're promoting supervisors because of their gender belief, what bathroom they use, what religion, whatever, what color, whatever they want to use to promote people nowadays, because it's not promoting on value. It's not promoting on achievement. There's no standards because standards make people feel bad, Rick. Standards mean if somebody can't do what other people can do, they should get a participation promotion. That's the problem. This is why supervisors don't do nothing. Because if they do, they'll be called mean names. And they'll be called liberal names because they're not tolerant, because they're not accepting. Because if you say anything about Obama, it's not that he's not perfect. It's because of his color. That's the problem.
Resigned. But the new interim sheriff wants to make sure this never happens again. And our Luann
Oh, of course he does.
Stoya talked to him.
discharges the canister of pepper gas on Mr. Friend.
Prisoner Thomas Friend's hands are bound behind him in a restraint chair. Investigators say Friend had been combative, spitting, a danger to himself and others.
He had been...
So he's a danger to himself or others, so they strap him in the chair, which is common, because nobody likes to be strapped in a chair. Especially people who are smart don't want to be strapped in a chair, because they know the cops are going to do things to them when they're strapped in a chair. Rick, they don't know that. Most cops would never do. You freaking idiots out there that keep protecting cops. I get it. I was raised. Cops are your friends. Cops are the good guys. Cops will protect us. That is not reality nowadays. Cops work for the government. They want to go out there, harass you, raise your taxes, write you tickets, get their quotas, get their numbers, use you show you how tough they are, show you how they don't have to take smack from you, show you how the Constitution doesn't matter, that they have a badge and a gun and they're going to be protected and they have immunity and you can't do nothing about it. And we see it every day. Shooting people, shooting unarmed people, shooting dogs, beating the hell out of people for no reason. Rick, those are all isolated incidents and you just don't like cops. Well, that's because you're a freaking idiot.
High on bath salts, breaking into neighbors' vehicles, assaulting people.
Deputies use a fogger to cover.
Okay. So the guy did all these bad things. I get it. There's bad people. I've arrested a lot of bad people. I fought with a lot of bad people and I put a lot of bad people in jail. A lot of bad people got away. That's just the way it works. There's bad people out there. That's why when they try to sell you that if good people give up their guns, somehow you'll be safer, you're an idiot. Okay? I get there's bad people. But bad people does not mean that government gets to do whatever they want and abuse their power and authority. Government unchecked becomes tyrannical. We are living under tyrannical government. People don't want to admit it. People want to say it's isolated. People want to desensitize you to things like the UPS shooting where they shot up everybody. And they want to desensitize you to the New Jersey shooting where they brought in 1,000 cops for 2 people with guns. No, that's normal, Rick. That's just officer safety, Rick. That's just police being careful because they want to go to their families. And they're all heroes, just like firemen. They're all heroes. Rick, you can't say that about... I'll be quiet, you big crybaby. Bunch of freaking crybaby firemen.
For Friend with pepper spray.
So he's trapped. He can't do anything. He can't put his hands in his face. He's tied down. He is a threat to nobody. And this dude pepper sprays him point blank with a huge canister. This by itself is egregious
with pepper spray.
And
Friend
outrageous.
Pushes himself backward and the chair is not upright for...
So now he's allowed to hurt himself. But Rick, they put him in the chair because he was a danger to himself. Well, that's because you're an idiot. You got to pay attention. They don't put you in a chair because they're a danger to yourself. They put you in a chair because they want to show you who's boss. They want to restrain you. They want to tie you up so they can pepper spray you and hit you. Rick, this is one officer and you're putting them all in a bad apple and all officers are good. So let me get this straight, you freaking idiots out there. It's okay to say all cops are great and there's only a few bad. But I can't say after video, cops are earning the hate, the tyrannical, and there's no repercussions. I can't say that because I just hate all cops. But you can say all cops are good and all firemen are good. And you can put them all in that group and you're okay and you're the good guy and I'm the bad guy. Okay. You live in your freaking idiotville.
11 minutes. The supervisor does nothing to intervene.
Well, it was disturbing. It's not something you would expect a officer to be doing.
I don't know where this guy's been living. You wouldn't expect it? Why isn't this shocking to me that, wow, I've never seen it before. This is the most outrageous thing I've seen. Because it's not. Because I see it almost every day and it's becoming normal. And people get desensitized to it. And then YouTube wants to start blocking it because it's too dangerous. It's too evil. People shouldn't see this. We have to protect them. So then nobody sees it. Nobody can speak out about it. Nobody can be outraged about it because, well, we don't want to promote violence. We want to protect you. So we'll hide it because we don't want people thinking government is bad or government's out of control. So we'll censor it in the name of protecting you. Come on, people.
Deputy Jerry Mooney brings Friend back inside the holding area and is alone with the prisoner. Investigators say Mooney strikes Friend.
Strikes him. So he puts his knees together. That's what they said he struck him. Are you kidding me? He put his freaking knees together.
With the prisoner. Investigators say Mooney strikes friend in
put his knees together, and the officer punches him in the face with a closed fist. Remember, when we're taking complaints on people and we're talking about people, we're always describing, well, how was the punch? Was it in closed fist?
Say Mooney strikes friend in the face.
Closed fist punch. That's worse than a open hand slap. Get it? I gotta explain this. Some people aren't it. I get my regular viewers and the people that's been watching me for a while understand this use of force and how this is so egregious and how this goes up on the scale. If he'd have slapped him, it would have been wrong, but it wouldn't have been as bad. He put a closed fist. He's unrestrained. He's larger than this guy. This guy is tied to a chair and he's been pepper sprayed. And this guy wants to punch him in the face. Rick, he's an officer of the law and he earned that badge and he took an oath and he would never do that and they wouldn't hire him or keep him if he was that bad. Well, that's because you're an idiot.
And head several times, all caught on camera.
We'll make sure that no officers in our jurisdiction ever even thinks of doing anything like this again.
Well, I got news for you. Because this guy is doing this, it's been deemed okay. This is not a rookie officer that's only been on for 6 months. I don't remember if they said this guy was on 2 years or 12 years or whatever. I get them all mixed up because they all tie together. They've always got the same excuses. Oh, he's a new officer. Oh, he hasn't been around. Oh, nobody's ever caught it before. Oh, we never reviewed it. We've never seen this problem before. Oh, she got a Medal of Valor for shooting a guy in the back because he took her taser, and now she's being charged for shooting another guy in the back that took her taser. But we're not going to investigate the first case. You see the theme? And people want to come here and argue with me and kind of say, well, you're just picking on cops, Rick. I can't make this shit up. I'm not making a video. I got no dog in this fight. This guy didn't hit me. I'm simply trying to educate people. Our government's out of control, and cops are the enforcers of our government. And if our government's out of control, then the people enforcing and protecting the government is out of control.
Again.
Since the prisoner is able to move about the holding area, Deputy Mooney positions the chair on a grate door with the prisoner secured to it and strikes friend again.
5 there.
Jesus Christ, man. Are you kidding me?
For a total of 11.
Interim Sheriff James Nelson shows us how the restraint chair works and tells us the use of force.
So these straps here would keep his legs from kicking himself around, and they weren't used. So because they didn't use these on his feet, he was able to move around. So when he moved around, this cop thought the best course of action was to punch a helpless person. I get it, people. He's a bad guy. He used bath salts. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's probably spitting and cussing. I get it. He's a bad guy. But if we're allowing government to just beat up bad guys, if we're allowing government to tie people up, pepper spray them and beat the hell out of them while their hands are tied, how are we any different than Mexico or third world countries that do this? I don't get it.
Force in this case was excessive.
The inmate was restrained in a chair, no threat to the deputy, and just a very unfortunate situation.
Unfortunate? It's criminal. And this guy has been allowed to do it. And this guy thinks, who thinks, raise your hand if you think this is the first time this cop, I got the cop lovers here who tell me I'm always picking on cops. Okay, you guys will be raising your hand. This is the first time this cop has ever done this. Nobody had any clue that he was a coward and that he would hit people who were handcuffed, and he used overuse of force and he was aggressive. If he took his hat off, I'm betting he's bald. Rick, you can't say that. I'll be quiet, you big crybaby.
Mooney resigned last month before he was fired. We're told Mooney is trying to get workers' compensation for the broken hand he suffered during the beating.
Oh my God. Are you freaking kidding me? The guy broke his hand on a dude tied up because he punched him in the face so many times, and he wants workers' comp. See, this is the problem with government protecting government. He'll probably get it, by the way, because it was a work-related injury, even though he broke policy. See, cops have not lost their immunity, and they know that nothing can happen to them. So what the hell? What do I got to lose? Why do I have to worry about that pesky document, the Constitution? Why do I have to worry about pesky citizens? Why should I worry about that? I have immunity. Same way as judges, same way as lawyers and DAs. They all get protections, and what happens When you give somebody unaccountable power, they abuse power. Just like women with restraining orders and DVs and putting people away and making up that they were raped and all this and getting people put in jail with no accountability. When you give people power and no accountability, they will abuse it 100% of the time. That's just the way it is.
I do feel it's just another black eye on Pike County. And
not Pike County. It's law enforcement as a whole. This isn't a Pike County issue.
That's not how our department runs. I think it was just an isolated incident.
Nelson.
That's not how it runs. Let me explain something to you about policy, people. Cops don't do things if they think they can lose their job or if they think they will lose their pension. And cops know what causes them to do that. And when there's an attitude that nobody cares, this is why cops do this. This is why this happened. This didn't happen because this cop was thinking, man, if I do this, I'm going to lose my job and my career. That's not why it happened. It happened because he's been doing it for so long. It's acceptable. Nobody's corrected him. It's become normal, and therefore they think it's normal, so they do it with impunity and without even thinking about it. Like, this is normal course of business. This is not an isolated incident, people.
Tells us after what happened, his department is getting additional training on how to handle prisoners and use of the restraint.
Oh, here we go. More taxpayer dollars because training always fixes bad cops. You know, what we need to do is just give criminals more training. When criminals get caught robbing banks, we should just give them more training. Isn't that the same ignorant philosophy? If we can't train criminals not to be criminals, how can we train cops not to do criminal behavior? It is the same ignorant philosophy. Training is not the issue, people. Training is a band-aid that makes people, ignorant people, feel good, and it wastes tax dollars, and then people get to run around and go, oh, we gave training on it. We're so much better because everybody received training on it, and training fixed all the problems. Why don't we just give citizens training on how to be good citizens? Why don't we give criminals training on how not to be a criminal? Why don't we give people that beat their wives training on not to be? Why don't we give people that use guns illegally training and then they won't commit crimes with guns? Because training's not the answer, you freaking idiots. I get so tired of people coming here. Those cops need more training. Well, you're a programmed idiot repeating a company line, spending more taxpayer money on ignorance.
Chair.
The deputy, for whatever reason, just felt like he had had enough, I suppose. I really can't speak for him.
The prosecutor tells me he's turned the case over to the FBI to see if federal criminal charges are warranted. In Waverly, Luann Stoya, ABC 6 News.
Okay, just a little earning the hate here. I know I'm picking on this cop. I get it. There's good cops out there. I get it. I'm a bad guy because I point out bad behavior by police, so that makes me a bad guy. And then the same idiots that'll say that will run around. There's no blue line. There's no cops protecting cops. Cops don't protect, a cop that speaks out against cops is never freaking, cheered by other cops. Good cops, there's good cops that are like, they don't have a problem with me doing this because they know it's wrong. And it's very easy to see it's wrong. But the cops who want to just live in their fantasy land, that all cops are good and we should never say anything bad about them because they're all heroes. And we should hide these isolated incidents because nobody would ever do this. And, this is just an isolated incident. Yeah. Sorry, people. Not my style. I've always been the type to speak out. And it's cost me. And it's not easy. And it would have been easier to keep my mouth shut. And it's easier for other cops to keep their mouths shut. And it's easier for people to keep their mouths shut about gun control and the government trying to seize guns and give up your gun. It's just easier to look the other way. But you know what? Throughout life, the easy way, 9 times out of 10, is not the right way. It's usually just the easier way. All right, we'll end that there.